Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
To Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler. Today we have a wonderful guest, a friend of mine that I have got to know over the last 12 months, Kim B. Smith. Kim supports female entrepreneurs to step out of their fear and find and use their voices. This is a great topic today. I know speaking up, using our voices can be a really hard process for many. I know it was for me at the beginning of my entrepreneurship journey. So I'm looking forward to bringing Kim into the broadcast. I just want to make an official shout out to our show sponsors, Craig Shelley, Beverly Hills Luxury Watches and Fine Jewelry at craigshelley.com. We are streaming live on mspnewsglobal.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and we're also on the E360 TV network under Fresh Takes, going live to Apple TV, Fire TV, Android TV, Roku, and many, many more. Let's bring in our incredible guest, Kim Boudreau Smith. Kim, welcome to Brilliance Business TV.
Thank you so much, Mark. I should say, I'm going to say good morning for Eastern Standard Time here, and I'll say good afternoon to you across the pond.
It's lovely to have you here, Kim. Using our voices, it can be terrifying. It brings up a lot of fear. If you have any inner insecurities, it will bring all of those out. So we have a really great topic to cover today. I would just like to go just back a little bit, Kim, about your past and background. What has led you to inspire and help female entrepreneurs to use their voices?
Well, boy, there's a few things that has led me to this moment today, Mark. I was that young child that was told to be seen and not heard, and that my father would open up the front door when I was a younger child and organizing hopscotches. I'm dating myself. Hopscotches and Mother May I's, with all the neighborhood kids. He would open up the door and go, "Kim, you've got a big mouth. You're too bossy. We can hear you through the whole neighborhood." So I was having so many mixed messages when I was younger. You're too shy, speak up, but then you are to be seen and not heard. And then you have a big mouth, you're bossy. So my parents wanted to pull me out of my shyness as they were giving me all these mixed messages and enrolled me in the local dance studio, which became my whole life until I was out of high school. So I grew up on a stage to help build my confidence as a child, and it really turned in a huge love. But then the other piece of arriving here to this moment is I went on after high school and built a phenomenal corporate career, all based upon lies and what I thought that you and everyone else, society, if I showed up a specific way and did certain things, then I would be accepted and I would be successful, even though I was out of alignment of my voice and hiding my self-expressions.
Some great points there, Kim. I myself was at dancing school from the age of 9 to 15. I got to championship level. I used to do television extras and drama as well. That was so great for my confidence because I was going through a lot as a child through bullying, didn't have many friends. And I feel that dancing and drama really taught me some great life lessons, even today, of being confident and going for your dreams. So we have that in common. You mentioned a great point, actually, and it's all about balance. when we are scared to use our voices and we have that inner fear, those inner securities, but then on the other side of the spectrum where we have got great confidence and we use our voices, sometimes it's hard to get that balance right and win with people, because people may say, oh, you're scared, you've got no confidence. But then when you find that confidence and you step into your power, again, that can offend some people, that you're stepping into your own brilliance and you are using your voice and you have that confidence. What are your thoughts on that?
You, especially for my gender, Mark, women, that is a really fine line we walk. It's either, oh, you're not speaking up, so you're not being visible. Well, now you're speaking up, and now you're looking like you're bitchy. There's so many, labels to all of this, and it is a fine line. It's really being able to ground yourself, shoulders down, open the chest, take a few deep breaths before jumping in and speaking. And there's so much to that, Mark. I mean, that is a full question. First of all, it's managing that big voice in our head, aka
Yes.
the inner critic. I call her the hag in the attic, right? Because she can be a hag. It's learning how to manage it so she's not controlling you, and having those inner self dialogues so that the external dialogue is not dragging you down the street and showing up in a different way, where it's maybe accusatory, pointing fingers, and literally, as I like to say, putting the dragon on. The dragon, like that, is a Miranda in The Devil Wears Prada, if anyone has seen the movie, because we don't have to be in our dragon mode. And we don't have to be playing small mode. If we're very grounded and self-assured and we trust ourselves, we can just step in, and just speak up. And it is, especially when you're in a group, it is a balance, because if you are always the first to really speak up, it's learning how to, pull back and create that space for someone else to speak up first, as opposed to always being the first one jumping in. And for those who don't always speak up first, getting more confidence, enhancing the confidence to maybe speak up first. It's such a dance.
You have mentioned some nuggets here. I was on Clubhouse today and we was talking about this very thing, and it was me that brought it up. So many times on speaking platforms or on sales calls, I get onto calls with people and they talk and talk even more, normally all about themselves. Mm-hmm. So as much value there is in having our inner voice, speaking up, listening is such a powerful skill that even some really successful leaders, sometimes I think to myself, they have no emotional intelligence, that they're just talking and talking, but they're not pausing and listening and asking questions about others. And I think listening is so important. What do you think about that?
Well, I say often we have two of these and one of these, two of these and one of these. And you said a very magical word there, Mark, pausing. I call it POP, the power of pause. We are such a society of, oh my God, silence. What's wrong? I'm nervous. And so let's just keep talking and filling up the room with noise. It's a lot of times such goldenness comes in those power of those pauses, those silence. And you said, like in sales calls and stuff, which, by the way, that's, first of all, that is one of my most newest training, or discovery calls with women, because women tap dance around, I don't want to be too salesy or pushy or forward. There's so much of that stigma going on. That, and knowing how to put on a curiosity hat and get very curious and listen, ask just some questions and listen in to what's being fed to you. But again, we're a society of talk, talk, me, because I'm anxious and I'm nervous and I've got the inner critic going on and it's telling me this and I've got to think ahead and what am I going to say next and what's right and wrong here. There's so much going on out there when just a few deep breaths before you go into a call, before you come on an interview like this, or before whatever stage that is, whether it's a stage delivering a keynote like this, doing some pre-stage rituals to ground those nerves and fears, which I don't like to talk about. I call them sensations, and in embracing all those sensations so that they become your ally.
I agree totally. Listening is an important skill, and asking questions, try not to be so self-oriented that you just want to talk about how great you are, but then don't even say, tell me a little bit about you, and then pause and actually be interested and listen. But we will talk a lot more about the last part of what you just said about fears, that inner critic, because I know how much fear there is around using your voice to speak up. So we will cover that shortly. Just tell us, Kim, a little bit about your business now and how you serve your clients.
Well, currently right now, the serving is it could be a 90-day one-on-one, depending upon what the woman comes to me, what the female client comes to me for. Normally, it's a 6-month one-on-one relationship coaching partnership that I do with women. And it could be anywhere from contriving and pulling together their signature talk. Because if you're an entrepreneur, you do want to have signature talks and be on TV shows and podcasts like this, because hello, visibility. Or it could be how they're showing up in their voice within their business or within corporate America, or I should just say corporate generally around the world, and what they're doing and what they're putting out there. I call that branding, even though it's not the branding of the logo and the colors, it's the branding of how you're showing up and what you're presenting and what you're carrying. So that's how I work with women, is private coaching right now.
I have to agree, Kim, that using your voice, knowing how to share your message, your story, that is all part of branding. So I totally agree with you on that. If your messaging's not right, you're not delivering your story correctly, that can damage your brand. So it is definitely part of branding. Kim, I have really enjoyed the first part of the show, so please stay where you are. We're just going to a commercial break. Thank you everyone for joining us for part 1 of Brilliance Business TV. We're joined with the incredible Kim Boudreau Smith. Do you want to be seen, noticed and heard? Do you know how to use your voice in a bold way? Is your messaging right? Join us for part 2 of Brilliance Business TV. Welcome back to Brilliance Business TV. I'm Mark Stephen Pooler. We're joined with the incredible Kim Boudreau Smith. Before the break, we shared some great lessons all about the skill of using our voice and stepping into our power, overcoming those fears so that we're not scared to speak up. But we also talked about the important skill of listening and the power of a pause, which is really, really powerful as well. Kim, female entrepreneurs, they have all of these fears about being visible, speaking up. Not only women entrepreneurs, I know myself, I had all of these fears at the beginning of my journey. Just share your thoughts on this and the problems that you see some of these entrepreneurs facing with being visible and overcoming those fears.
Well, first of all, a lot of those fears are, what are people going to think about me? What happens if I put a post out there, for an example, on LinkedIn, and I get all these people coming back and it's negative and they hate. So they're attached to other people's opinions, the OPOs, I call them. Also, too, the inner critic, the hag, is really ramped up around this, that fear. She's holding them back. She holds us back in our heads, that, we can't show up that specific way, or we shouldn't be saying that. It's all the shoulds that society says: sit a certain way, look a certain way, do a certain thing. When, if we don't show up, how are you going to get that visibility for your business, get that visibility for the next promotion? How is that? Who's going to do that for you? We have to do that for ourselves and learn how to not get over the fears and the nerves, but learning how to embrace that those fears and nerves are part of sensations. Because I'm a believer that, we could be scared and excited at the same time.
Yes.
Scared in the chest, but yet have the butterflies in the stomach. And we can have those together where we're maybe stepping out of a comfort zone. One of my things that I personally go through is my hands get a little perspiry. They get a little clammy before an interview like this, or before I walk out onto a stage. And I grew up on a stage. So each time I push myself out there, there's always going to be those sensations, but it's learning how to embrace them and not just focus, oh my God, I'm nervous, I'm so fear, I'm so nervous, I'm so fear, and then all of a sudden, lack of confidence, the esteem goes away, lack of self-trust. Then we put on a cloak, a robe or a cloak of imposter syndrome, and that I'm not enough.
Speaking has a lot of fear attached to it. At the start of my journey, I couldn't even talk to a few people, Kim. I was really, really afraid of speaking. I would shake. I'd have all insecurities. I don't like my voice. I don't feel confident in the way I look. So for me, it took a lot of self-improvement, personal development, and just taking little steps, speaking to a couple of people, then building my confidence. But I always say, always share your message, always use your voice. Even if your voice is shaking, just get over that fear and just face it. And even if your voice is shaking, I know in the beginning, and I still get a little bit nervous now, Kim, but like you mentioned, it's about letting the excitement and fear drive you and just getting excited about it and using that fear as fuel. So that is a great point. Do you want to elaborate on anything there?
And Mark, that was beautiful what you just shared. And look at where you are now, and look what you do for all of us, with your agency and stuff. Talk about visibility. It's taking those small steps. I think as a society, we look at Tony Robbins, Jack Canfield, Oprah, all these people that are amazing speakers. Well, they didn't start there. They started, back over here, and they took the small steps. It's like, getting on a bike and learning how to ride the bike. You may have training wheels, and then you get the feel of it, and then you remove the training wheels, and then, the balance and all of that. You have to take those small steps. And even if your voice is quivering or your hands are shaking or you're sweating, whatever that case may be, is you still show up and you do it anyways. The more that you buy into all those, the fears and the nerves and the shaking and the perspiration, is the larger they become. I always say it's like olive oil feeding spinach to Popeye. They get bigger. So you have to face them. You have to embrace. You have to step in to them.
Again, brilliant points. Let me just see this comment here. We have Linda. Hannah, I agree. We have to appreciate the small steps in moving forwards. Wisely said, Linda. Thank you for sharing. You brought up something to my mind, actually, Kim. You mentioned sweaty palms. For me, when I was speaking on stages in the beginning, my mouth would go totally dry, and I remember there wasn't water. I know always to have a glass of water near where I'm speaking so I can wet my mouth. And there wasn't a glass of water, and I remember my teeth were sticking to my lips and I just felt so unconscious, and then that kicked in the nerves. So I totally relate to the importance of sharing your message, using your voice, and really overcoming some of these fears. And I know how hard that can be. It's a very, very scary process in the beginning, but just like me, with little steps, anything is possible. Kim, now I know you work in corporate as well. Emerging leaders, it's a little bit different to female entrepreneurs in corporate. How do they own their voice and step into their power and use it authentically? Emerging leaders in corporate, Kim?
Well, and that's, that is a huge question that is ever ongoing with women. I've heard emerging leaders or women that have just stepped into their, first leadership role, and they're having other people come to them and say, you're not speaking up. You're not speaking up. And especially an emerging leader who's getting bypassed for promotions, or team leads will say to them, hey, look, we hired you to come in and bring your ideas, and you're not speaking up on those ideas. You need to be confident enough and self-assured that, in your head, your idea may be sounding stupid, which, by the way, is the inner critic taking you down, but it's being able to express them. Look, the team might not go, yay, that's the best idea in the whole wide world, but they are hearing you. And that goes to the analogy of, look, lean in. Step up to the table, grab a seat. If there's not a seat, I hear so much of this. If there's not a seat, bring a seat. Look, I say this. If there's not a seat, ladies, stand up and darn it, speak up. You need to speak up and in your power-filled bodies, and stop worrying about, oh, I'm not educated enough, or, they may see me the wrong way or think of me as this way. They're waiting to hear from you. They are waiting to hear.
Well said, Kim. Again, you brought up some memories, so I will share them with you. The inner critic. Now, like that instance I just shared where I was on stage, no water, my mouth was dry, my gums were sticking to my teeth. In my head, fear had kicked in. In my mind, that was the worst speech I've ever done. I wonder what people thought of me. I could hear my voice shaking on the microphone a little bit. So the inner critic was bashing me. That was your worst speech ever. That was rubbish. I'm never speaking again. And then a couple of weeks later, you will get a video of the speech and think, I've got to watch this to learn, improve. Mm-hmm. And you watch it back and you think, it wasn't actually as bad as what you had made out in your own mind. Even though you didn't feel it was great, you watch it back and think, all of that was in my mind. It was all that inner critic. Have you ever experienced this?
I just experienced that just recently. Yes, I remember when I first started speaking on stage. It's the same thing, with the dry mouth. And I remember the muscles in my legs were shaking. Thank God I had long, wide leg
Yes.
pants on. You couldn't see them. But, I just recently had to videotape a 5-minute mock-up TED Talk that I'm presenting at the end of, at the end of September later this year. And, I'm learning how to embrace and step out even more and level up and all the sensations that I talk about. And, when I did the video, I like to do a one take. I'm a one take kind of girl, but with the
too.
lighting, the lighting in the house and everything. And I went a little too long the first time. I went over 5 minutes. I said, whoops, we got to redo that. And hang on, let me think where I can cut back a little bit, so it was a 2-take thing. And I was thinking after I sent that over, I'm like, there was no professional stuff going on here. My coach was asking for just, she needed to see us from the knees up, for all of this. So, I had no makeup on. I just came in from power walking. I'm good to go. And I thought, wow, how sloppy of that was of me. How sloppy. And I looked back at it. I'm like, I wasn't sloppy. I was not sloppy, so we all have that inner critic. It's what we do with that internal language. And how we recover from that internal language, how we love and compassionately embrace ourselves so that negativity, again, does not become olive oil feeding spinach to Popeye, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yes. So that brings me lovely to my next question. What are some of the steps, Kim, that female entrepreneurs, emerging leaders can take to get rid of that fear or slowly remove the fears? I know they never go, but improve the fear and to get visible so that they stand into their power, they own a room. What are some of those secrets or steps?
Well, let me address the entrepreneur first and foremost, and
Yes.
there's some of this like LinkedIn visibility thing that people are going on with. Oh, I don't want to be in front of a camera, video and stuff. And I'm like, well, if you don't want to be in front of a camera, how are you going to get up on a stage and deliver a signature talk? Let's talk about this. So one of the things I have my clients do is I have them practice self-compassionate dialogue in the mirror and look at themselves in the mirror. That mirror work is, and don't get into, I got this wrinkle or my eyebrows need to be, whatever. Don't get into that. Be aware of that, but also to move on. So it's learning how to have a dialogue to yourself in the mirror. The other thing I like my clients to do is videotape themselves, and don't put it out there in public, but videotape, do a video on Zoom, whatever, and send it over to me and take those first steps. And then embrace a topic that you're passionate about, yet comfortable to step in, putting out there that first video for social media. And on the corporate women leadership side is that needs to be, there's like no practicing this in meetings. You have to be on in those meetings. So it's leading up, again, that self-dialogue, whether it be journaling or affirmations or whatever those cases may be, to build that cup of confidence and esteem and worth and trust.
I couldn't agree more, Kim. All those steps I did take at the beginning of my journey. It was before Facebook Lives. It was when you could post a video and then post it to Facebook. And it's really important to just do those little steps, because I know for me, believe it or not, in the beginning, Kim, even to record a video of myself, even if people weren't watching it, it was still a really scary experience. And you can learn so much from watching yourself And once you take that first step, the next step, post it to Facebook or go live, it's not going to be perfect, and you may have some critique in yourself, but it gives you the confidence then to take the next step. But I know for me, in the beginning, even doing a video to myself, I found it really hard, but it's important to take those first steps. So you shared a lot of value today. Kim, I have really enjoyed having a conversation with you. Is there anything you want to elaborate on the last question I just asked you?
Well, no, again, it's, the one main piece is I always surround myself to the people who know, love, and trust me before I put myself totally out to, the world, and to get that constructive embracing feedback, and also that positive push forward, because it's like you said, Mark, we look at ourselves, we see things differently, and it's like waking up and wiping the sleep out of our eyes and going, wow, how I thought I was, that's not true. It is really not true. And just learning how to embrace ourselves. And I stand for all women, all females of whether, stepping into their sexual orientation, or they're single, or, married and with children or without children, is to really discover and own that beautiful, bold voice.
Beautifully said. And another thing, when I first started doing video and speaking, and I did get a lot of comments and people laughing at me as well, I used to say a lot. So everything I would say, I'd go and that was because of insecurities inside, and having to think about what to say next, and all those nerves and fears. So I have just really enjoyed that, having this conversation. It's brought some of those memories up, because when you are progressed in your journey, it is quite easy to forget some of those steps that we have all had to take in the beginning, and to relate to how hard it is for emerging entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, that are struggling to use their voice. We have all been there. We have all took those steps, and there's steps that do need to be taken. So it's really important work that you are doing, Kim. Now, you are offering a free download, 5 things female entrepreneurs do that sabotage their speaking success. Tell us a little bit about this.
Well, first of all, I'm going to say right off the bat, when you opt in, I'm not going to inundate you with a bunch of emails, number one. And number two, there are 5 things out there that female entrepreneurs do to really sabotage their speaking success. I mean, and it holds them back from the visibility. I'm not going to go into those 5 things. You're going to have to download to get that. But I don't want to glump us all into one group, but we all have suffered through the inner critic and the hag and the attic and the mindset, and holding back based upon what we think society thinks of us, or how we should be. And, Mark, those ums and those filler words, when we are in conversation, there are going to be some filler words.
Yes.
It's when we're doing too many of the filler words, we dilute our message. And that's an indication to me as a coach. You're too much in your head thinking far what you're going to say next, when you already know. You need to come back into your body and embrace this. You know what to say. We know what to say.
So true. It's all to do with confidence, fear. That's why I love the work, what you're doing, because I remember where I was on my journey at the beginning, and I had very low self-esteem at the very, very start in my own ability to get up and speak, seeing other amazing speakers, which made me feel like, I just remember the insecurities, and it was definitely a confidence thing. And then people laughing that you're saying, and no, I don't say it that often, but like you mentioned, it will always be there at some level in any natural conversation. It's just about controlling it so that it's not too much. So I would encourage everyone to opt in to get your free download, 5 things female entrepreneurs do that sabotage their speaking success. Go to kimbsmith.com. That's kimbsmith.com. kimbsmith.com. Kim, I have thoroughly enjoyed having a conversation with you today. Thank you so much for coming on to the Brilliance Business TV show.
Thank you so much, Mark, for having me. It's been such a pleasure. And I'm a fan of yours, so I love spending time with you.
I'm a fan of yours too, and I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation today. Thank you everyone for watching Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business. We have been joined with the incredible Kim Boudreau Smith. Kim has shared so many pearls of wisdom today, all around female entrepreneurs and emerging leaders in corporate, owning who they are, using their voice, stepping into their brilliance, overcoming those fears, those obstacles, to use their voice to build their business and brand. Thank you everyone for watching Brilliance Business TV. Bye for now, Kim, and bye everyone. Thank you for watching. Until next time.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.